Hello everyone and welcome to Through the Wire. We discuss all the hot stories in sports straight from the headlines. I'm Giancarlo Stanton with Zem Molina, and Ed leading things off. Big news from the NFL: Adrian Peterson suspended for the season in light of the allegations of child abuse. Now here's the question: now with it's obviously a huge suspension here. Is it over the line here in terms of the length?
Over the line? I mean, a lot of people think so. I think a lot of people felt that Roger Goodell overcompensated because of the Ray Rice incident. I mean, in a lot of ways, though, Peterson did it to himself, not showing up to that meeting with Roger Goodell. But at the same time, the way punishments are handed out in the NFL, it almost seems like a kangaroo court where there's no independent appeal process. Everything is just based on what Roger Goodell wants, pretty much. There's no sense to it sometimes.
Yeah, but on the one hand, I kind of understand where the league is coming from in this sense because I mean, the Ray Rice thing really did leave a huge black guy, and then a long list of a long list of black guys that they've had over the years, and now they had to sort of make a statement in this situation. But so I can kind of see it from that business standpoint that they're in a tough spot. They had to look good somehow.
At the same time, though, the NBA just suspended someone 25 games for domestic violence, and their appeal process is through an independent arbitrator to decide the fate of this guy. And with Roger Goodell, the appeal process always lands on his lap. There's a disconnect there. At the end of the day, it seems like everything is just based on the whims of the commissioner's office, and I feel like that's going to be a problem come the next collective bargaining agreement.
And moving on to the NBA, the Chicago Bulls are currently right now leading the Central Division, an 8-4 record, and more impressively, they're doing it without Derrick Rose.
What's amazing is they're doing it without Rose. They've been a monster on the road. They just recently lost their first game on the road to a scrappy Sacramento team with DeMarcus Cousins and Rudy Gay. But they're learning, and they've had to do this for a while, but they're learning to win without Derrick Rose, which you hope that he comes back so that he can add to this team.
But I feel like they've been kind of learning to win without Derrick Rose since 2012 when he tore the ACL. He just hasn't been the same since that point. So this is a point where they've adapted they've had some time to adapt for a while, so they know what they're doing. I mean, this has always been a very deep, very talented team, and they preach defense first, and that's always going to get you somewhere.
I think also replacing Carlos Boozer with Pau Gasol, it was like night and day. As Kobe Bryant is learning out in Los Angeles, where Boozer ended up, he misses Pau Gasol, let's be honest. But it does make a difference, and it has a little bit more extra offensive firepower. Even though they lost Luol Deng, that they're doing this yet again, I think is a testament to Tom Thibodeau as well, that they're able to scrap all these wins. So.
And in other news, big signing from an MLB this week. Giancarlo Stanton signed a massive 13-year, $325 million contract, I think the largest in Major League Baseball history. Is he worth it?
The reason I like the contract is he's in his mid-20s. He's barely 25 at this point. He has an opt-out clause until the age of 30, so you get a 5-year commitment. You get the best of Stanton in his Marlin years. And then after that, if he opts out, look, let's be honest, he's going to end up with the Yankees or Red Sox or Dodgers, teams that have a lot of money, but he'll be on the decline of his career at that point. So I like the contract. He also has a no-trade clause, which is brilliant on his part because he can always demand. Now he has leverage in demanding a trade should the Marlins decide to be the Marlins.
That's right, and he did put out some pretty impressive stats this past season. 288 batting average, 37 home runs, 105 runs batted in. So offensively, he can do it at the plate. But the problem is now that given the size of this contract, he's got massive expectations to live up to right now. I mean, now the people are going to be looking at him for the next 13 years. Can he be the guy who can put you over the top? Can he be the
I disagree. I think the pressure's on the Marlins to surround him with a team now because not only that, he was willing to take most of the money on the back end of the deal after his opt-out clause. So really, he's given them financial flexibility. It's now on Marlins management to see how badly they want to win. So I kind of disagree with that.
Well, I don't know. I mean, when you're giving someone the largest contract in history, I mean, you're talking about more than guys like Babe Ruth, more than guys like Alex Rodriguez or Ken Griffey Jr., or Derek Jeters of the world, guys who've accomplished a lot, and now you're putting this pressure on this kid in his 20s who hasn't won a ring to date right now, but he has some very impressive stats. Now you're telling him that basically we're giving you this money so you can take us to the next level. They didn't pay $325 million for a sub here. They paid for a superstar.
Yeah, but he doesn't pitch. He doesn't, you know what I mean? He can't do it. He's not the closer. He's not the catcher. There's only so much he can do. The pressure is actually on management now to actually surround him with a team. Look, the Marlins stink. They have nobody. They're basically a AAA team with a star player now. And they did this to keep him, to make sure he wouldn't land with the Yankees or another team like the Dodgers. I mean, the pressure now is on management, not on Stanton.
Yeah, we'll have to see how that situation plays out. And that wraps up this edition of Through the Wire. Another tune next week for more. And to continue the conversation, better log on to LatinPost.com.